and authentic. The tellers will announce the votes cast by the electors for each state, beginning with Alabama, which the parliamentarians advised me is the only certificate of the vote from the state and purports to be a return from the state that has annexed to a certificate of an authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors. Okay, what tellers do in Alabama?
We don't even
I'll
have
do.
the certification information.
I'm here. Hold on. Give me one
Let's
moment.
do this to the back end. Thank you. Please talk. DM each other.
Okay, hold on.
I have the Pennsylvania, the Wisconsin, and Michigan.
Okay, and who has Alabama? I didn't.
It'll be Chris.
All right, Chris. Hello. I can send you the template for Alabama if you need me.
Please send them the template. Y'all, we have 50 states to get through. Please.
Who won Alabama?
Wait, that's not right.
Holy.
I got Alabama. I'll do it. I'll just do it.
But who won? What person won Alabama?
Jim.
Jim. Yep, Jim.
State of Yellow.
Do you not have the electoral map?
No, I don't.
I'll DM it
Are
to
you
you.
serious? Do we not have a script for everybody?
Yeah, we do. Yep,
We
yeah,
have.
we do.
Then why,
Yes, we do.
Why are y'all not
Yes,
sending
we do.
it? Then why are you not sending it?
Okay. Well, there.
It's in the group chat.
They both were posted.
Who y'all piss me off?
Okay, and
Listen, if you're not talking about big business, don't talk at all. All right. Thank you. Okay.
Start or no?
Thank you.
Please start.
Okay, I'm waiting.
All right.
okay. I'll do it, Chris, and you got the next one.
I gave
Alright.
Kristen the thing.
Oh,
I have the document. I've been having the document.
All right, just go ahead. Read it. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you. Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote for the state of Alabama seems to be regular and informed and authentic and appears, therefore, that Jim Roberts of the state of Yellowstone received 9 votes for president and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 9 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Alabama that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Okay. Hearing none. This certificate from Alabama, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state and that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the electors of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors. All right. Come on. We're on Alaska. We got 50 states. Let's go.
all right. Mr. President, the certificate of the elector vote of the state of Alaska seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the
New England.
of the state of New England received 3 votes for the president, and who's the other person? Or Frank Butterfield
Holy shit.
received 3 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Alaska that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Okay. Hearing none, this certificate from Alaska. Sorry. This certificate from Alaska, the parliamentarian the certificate from Arizona. The parliamentarian advising me is on the certificate of the vote from that state that purports to be a return from that state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Alaska seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefore that the gentleman, Mr. Who won Arizona?
Jim
Jim.
It appears that the gentleman Jim Roberts from the great state of Yellowstone
New
received
England.
11. New England received 11 votes for president, and who's his VP? Oh, Frank Butterfield of the great state of Alabama of this received 11 votes for vice president. Why don't y'all do the forms?
All right. Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Arizona that the teller has verified to be appears?
Mr. President, point of information.
Hush.
Mr. President.
I'm speaking. Keep that off. I haven't finished my statement, so please.
Finish your statement, please.
That the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic. Okay. What's your point of information?
Mr. President, why did we not say the Pledge of Allegiance to our great nation, nor did we say a prayer at the beginning of this?
Moving on.
Mr. President, you can't do
Arkansas, the certificate from Arkansas, the parliamentarian advises me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
All right, Mr. President, the certificate of the elector vote of the state of Arkansas seems to be regular and the form and authentic, and appears there from that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 6 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield received 6 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Arkansas that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from California, the parliamentarian advises me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be returned from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purported to appoint and ascertain electors. Sorry.
Mr. President. Oops, sorry. Let me pull up the document. Mr. President, Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of California seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears that James Lord from the state of Yellowstone received 56. Hold on, I don't think that's right.
55.
55. Sorry. Okay. Received 55. Received 54. Actually, received 54 votes for president, and the gentleman, Mr. Jim Roberts of the great state of New England, received 54 votes for vice president.
It's 55. It's 2016, not 2022.
That's what it says on the document.
Well, the document's wrong.
All right. And just so I'm aware, who was the vice presidential nominee for James Lord?
Just do Barbara Montgomery at this point.
Well, you know, there is no realism here because you can
Barbara,
do that.
you can put my name, Mary. Just do that.
Anyway, are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of California that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic?
I object.
For what purpose does the gentleman
Mr. President, this vote, I mean, these numbers are absolutely outlandish. There's no way the current president-elect James Lord won that state, Mr. President.
Is the objection in writing and signed by a senator?
Yes. Wait, say that again, sorry.
Is the objection that you're proposing in writing and signed by a senator?
Yes, Mr. President.
Where? Because I don't have it.
Mr. President, I submitted it days ago to the clerk.
Get off
You're
the
such
stage,
a liar.
please. Let's continue.
The objection cannot be entertained. Hearing none, the certificate of Colorado, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Okay, since he doesn't want to do it, I'll do it. Mr. President, the certificate of the elector vote of the state of Colorado seems to be regular in the form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Tom Sharp of the, or sorry, Jim Roberts, Jim
There will be-
Roberts of the
there will be
state of
order.
New E, Jim Roberts,
It's not that
Jim
fun.
Roberts of the state of New England received 10 votes for President of the United States, and Frank Butterfield received 10 votes for Vice President.
You don't have to make all the extra noises. Just say what you have to say and keep it pushing. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Colorado that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Connecticut, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from that state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of Connecticut seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears that it appears therefrom that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone received 7 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin received 7 votes for vice president.
Excuse me. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Connecticut that the teller has verified appears to be regular, informed, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Delaware, the parliamentarian advises me is on the certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and that's annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Mr. President,
Just read it, dude.
President, point of clarification.
Who's
Not in order.
Who's reading? Who's reading
I will. Mr. President, the certificate of the elector vote of the District of Columbia seems to be regular in the form and we're on District of Columbia, sir. The District of Columbia seems to be regular and informal of the
We're on Delaware.
We're on Delaware?
Yes.
Yes, we're on Delaware.
Okay. Mr. President,
You
the
got one more
certificate
time.
of the elector vote of the state of Delaware seems to be regular and informal, authenticate, and it appears they're formal that James Lord and received 3 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield received 3 votes for vice president.
Okay, thank you. That was the last certificate of vote that will be read by him. Santino, find another teller.
Bring up Tyrone.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote? Counting the certificate of vote from the state of Delaware that the teller has verified appears regular, informed, and authentic. Wait. Hearing none, the
Find a new teller.
from the District of Columbia, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of the vote from that state that purports to be returned from the state and has the next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the District of Columbia seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone received 3 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin received 3 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the District of Columbia that the teller has verified to be regular, in the form, and authentic? Sorry. Hearing none, the certificate from Florida, the parliamentarian advises me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and is annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. The certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Florida seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 30 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 30 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Florida that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Georgia. Great state, great state. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and is annexed to it from the authority of the state according to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President. The certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Georgia seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 16 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 16 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Georgia that the teller has verified appears to be regular in form and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Hawaii. The parliamentarian advises me is the only. Come on now, you're gonna cough me. That is dirty. Is the only certificate of vote from the state of. Yes, from the state that purports to be returned from the state, hence next to it from the authority of the state reporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Hawaii seems to be irregular, in form, and authentic, and it appears that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone received 4 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin received 4 votes for vice presidential.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Hawaii that a teller has verified appears to be regular in form and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Idaho. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and as annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Idaho seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 4 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 4 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Idaho that the teller has verified appears to be regular in form and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Illinois. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be returned from the state and as annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of Illinois seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone received and the state of New Austin
19.
received 20. I said 20. It should be 20. 20 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Illinois that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Indiana, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of that state that purports to be a return from the state and sent next to it from the authority of the state reporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Indiana seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 11 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 11 votes for vice president.
Thank you. All right, before we continue with the tellers, I don't want to keep hearing Mr. President. So can you guys, your 4 of you guys, 3 of you guys, find some type of rhythm or order that you're going to read out these states? We want to move quickly, but we don't want to look disorganized or act like we're not.
That's how you read them to you, Maverick. You have to say Mr. President.
Right, but everyone's saying it. All the tellers are saying it at once. Just choose one person.
It needs to be in order. One person for each state. Because everybody can be talking over each other. So
Right.
when
Right.
Barbara go first, Malcolm, then me. Just keep rotating the order. Simple as that.
Thank you.
Please, and if we can't do that, y'all gonna get removed, and we'll have one person up here reading all of them.
Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of Indiana that Teller has verified appears to be regular? Hearing none, the certificate from Iowa, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state of purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Are we on Iowa?
Oh shit.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of Iowa seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 6 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Iowa that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Kansas, parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state, and it's annexed to it from the authority of the state reporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Kansas seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 6 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Kansas that the teller has verified that appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Kentucky, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has the next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain an elector.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the Commonwealth of Kentucky seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and appears that, therefore, what is homeboy's name? Jesus. Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 8 votes, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 8 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Kentucky that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, this certificate from Louisiana. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote of the state that it purports to be a return from the state and has next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Louisiana seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 8 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 8 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting certificate of vote for the state of Louisiana that the teller appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Maine, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of the state that purports to be a return from the state and is next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President. Wait, never mind.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Maine seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and appears therefore that, I believe this is that Jim Roberts from the state of New England received. Why is this messed up? 1 vote. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was right. Okay. 1 vote for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 1 vote for vice president.
And the other 3 go to James Lord.
Oh, okay. All right. Are there any objections to counting the vote of Maine? The teller has verified to be regular, regular, informed, and authentic. Sorry. Hearing none, the certificate from Maryland. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote of the state that purports to be a return from the state and as annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the
Okay.
certificate from the electoral vote for the state of Maine seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears therefore that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone received 10 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery from the state of New Austin received 10 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of Maryland that the teller has verified appears to be regular, foreign, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Massachusetts. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, as next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President,
the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of look here, woman. Of
Look
Massachusetts
here,
seems to be
man.
regular and informed and authentic, and appears therefore that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone received 11 votes for president, and Barbara Whitaker of the state of New Austin received 11 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of Massachusetts that the teller has verified to be appear and informed and authentic? Hearing
Mr.
none,
President, oh, I'm sorry.
You're all right. You're all right. Hearing none, that certificate from Michigan, the parliamentarian advises me is the only that state that purports to be a return from the state and as a next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, I object.
Fall down.
It will be order.
Mr. President, I object.
For what purpose of the gentleman from the state of Appalachia rise?
I object to the state of Michigan.
Is the objection in writing and signed by a senator?
Indeed, it is.
Is it in writing and signed by a representative?
Indeed, it is.
Then the objection can be entertained. An objection presented in writing and signed by both a representative and a senator complies with the law, Chapter 1 of Title 3, United States Code. The clerk will report the objection.
Oh.
Help!
One second.
Mr. President, we have an intruder on the floor.
Who's the intruder?
Man with an American flag.
Oh, yeah, the FBI can do their job for once and arrest the right people.
Right.
What's their username?
It's Brian.
Brian.
Hold on. That's her. Shit.
I got it. Never mind.
Okay, y'all can handle that. Can we get this
I
going?
gotta read this real quick. Objection to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Michigan in accordance with the provisions of Article 1, Section 5 of the United States Constitution and Title 3, Chapter 1 of Section 15 of the United States Code. We, a member of the House of Representatives and a United States Senator, object to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Michigan on the grounds that they were not under all the known pretenses under all the known circumstances regularly given. Signed, Drake Norton, a representative on behalf of the House, and Malcolm Davis, a senator on behalf of the Senate.
Thanks, Mr. Clerk. The chair. Are there any further objections to the certificate of the state of Michigan? Looks, put ears to the ground. The chair hears none. The two houses will withdraw from the joint session. Each house would deliberate and separately on the objection, and we'll reconvene after a vote on the objection is conducted.
10 minutes. We don't have all night to be here. 10 minutes. 8:20. We'll be back here. Y'all can go to y'all's chambers things, but do not end the event.
Leave the stage. Go to your House or Senate. We'll be back in 10 minutes, hopefully.
Okay. Oh yeah, right.
Leave the stage. Y'all got jobs to go do. Jim, it'd be a great day when you burn in hell.
And close your mouth.
Love and happiness.
Lord Jesus. Sits in a regular death seems not in leadership anymore.
Well, I am here. Yes, ready to record votes. Yes.
Y'all have this. Okay, we'll give our Democrat friends some time. They need to come on and
we ain't got no admin, so we could have
What do y'all want? What do y'all
People
need?
in senator
Well, I'm
roles.
gonna
Well,
go
we
get
need
something to
somebody
drink.
somebody TP them here so
Oh
we can.
wait, yeah, I'm still in the house chamber. Teleport me, please.
Yeah. What's your username?
Malcolm.
Need to get
Your
these
name?
people
It's
roles.
Malcolm without the L, the last L.
Go sit down.
Malcom. Thank you.
See, I don't know what's
Uh,
these people.
so is this seat for the whip? Good.
If you don't know that, maybe you should just step
No.
down.
Is what seat for the whip? Why are you sitting there? What are you doing?
Is DJ the real here? DJ the real, come over here.
DJ.
I gotta get a drink.
Y'all, we got 8 minutes.
All right, let's get this pushing.
The House has already started doing their speech.
Come on. The Senate
Yeah,
will
we
come.
got 8 minutes.
Listen, if y'all keep talking, I can't. The Senate will come to order. The Senate, before the Senate, there's an objection. The Senate will automatically move into a period of debate on that objection. And then following that, we'll move into a period of voting. Senators will be permitted to speak therein up to 5 minutes each.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I just wanted to say this right quick. So listen, people, we all have our minds made up. Either you're going to vote to object to this or not. Up to you. But I really don't think there's a need to debate. We all have our minds made up, and debate is supposed to help to change people's minds, and we're not going to do that. I think we all have our minds made up on what we're going to do. We've been thinking about this for weeks, so I really don't see a point in debating the issue. But if you do want to debate, go ahead. But I think that we're trying to move as quick as possible with this. So, but I yield or I reserve the remainder of my time.
The Senate Majority Leader yields. Or reserves, rather. If you don't have anything to debate about, let somebody please motion to move into a period of voting.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'm here.
Are you about to speak?
Yes.
The Senate Minority Leader.
Thank you. It is deeply saddening to see that we have some representatives and a select few of senators attempting to undermine this very process of which we have here. Voters decided that they wanted James Lord. That's a fact. The voters of Michigan chose James Lord. But we are in this. Oh my God! And he's not even in game. Oh, I just hate people. Sorry. And we are here today, debating the fact in attempting to try to overturn the voters. We constantly hear people mention the voters, the voters, the voters. Yet they are working to overturn the voters. We have a duty to our citizens, to the people, to ensure that we are doing the job for them and that we're respecting their vote. But this chamber is not doing that at all. Hold on. Okay,
Do
anywho.
you yield?
No, I do not. No, I do not, Mr. President. Continuing. Like I said earlier when I first began speaking, we have some election denying bigots attempting to undermine this process. If we allow these election denying bigots, to undermine our process, they will then undermine democracy. And what do we have with our democracy? We have dictators. Jim Roberts is a wannabe dictator, a wannabe president who lost a presidential election 3 times. Tells me who. That should tell you a lot that this is just a paragraph to him. This is just a career and not a commitment to Jim Roberts. He's lost 3 times. That's a message. That is a strong message to voters that Jim Roberts is not ready to lead this country. If he couldn't lead a 15-member House and only got 2 people at the session, what in the world makes you think he can lead a nation? Let that sink through your head. It's just absolutely disgusting to me. Disgusting to me that Republicans brag and yell and scream and moan and cry that the election is being rigged when that's what they're trying to do here today. They're trying to undermine the process of the electoral votes. They're trying to undermine the process of the electoral votes. And can somebody please bring up Shayla? Somebody keeps dragging her down.
Shayla's not in this game.
Okay, continuing. Anywho, yes, they're attempting to undermine this very process. And I just hope that maybe either somebody who can be PPT decides to change his vote, or the leader decides to change his vote, or even Malcolm, who signed the document, decides to change his radical vote. We have to support voters. We have to stand behind their choice. Y'all do this every time y'all lose an election. When Russ Hams lost against Hakeem Michaels, what did y'all do? Y'all did the exact same thing y'all are doing right now. Y'all cried and moaned and cried. Y'all don't know how to win. Y'all had the opportunity to do your job. See, we wouldn't even be here if y'all did your jobs in the House. If y'all prevented government shutdowns, if y'all proposed bills, if y'all actually did something with the trifecta that y'all had, we would not be here objecting to states. Maybe it would be the other way around. Maybe James Lord would have lost if y'all did your jobs. It's just outright disgusting to me that this is happening. So I'm going in before I yield. I'm going to say this: the choice is yours to represent every one of your constituents, and I'm going to represent mine to the best of my ability. As a senator of the great state of New Austin, which has Michigan inside of it, the voters chose James Lord to be our president, not Jim Roberts. The voters decided James Lord, not Jim Roberts, the person who has lost 3 presidential elections in a row. And with that, I reserve.
All right. The gentleman's time has elapsed. Whew. All right. Okay. Makes the motion. Somebody.
Mr. President.
The gentleman from New England.
Thank you. I motion that we move this to a vote.
Without objection, it's so ordered. With ooh. All those in favor of the objection say aye.
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 All those opposed say no.
No.
But
No.
you did that wrong. But
No. We're gonna. We have to do in the procedure of doing the voice vote, then the roll call. Then the opinion of chair.
no, he said motion, so someone had to second. No one second the
Ooh, child.
I thought I heard a second. Anyway, well,
All right, do it again, Derek.
come on, Derek.
I motion we move it to period of voting for the objection.
I second.
Without objection, it's so ordered. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no.
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 And then, in opinion of the chair, the ayes do have it.
Roll call.
The roll call being asked for, the clerk will call the roll.
Yes. And may I remind you, if you're not in the game, your vote will not be counted. Thank you. Davis.
Aye.
Floyd. Absent. Lennox of New England.
Aye.
Lennox of Appalachia. Lord.
Nay.
Smith. McCormick.
Nay.
Wallace.
Nay.
Well,
Hold on.
Tommy, I will give you the vote.
Hold on, I gotta let you know something. But so, yeah, still send me the vote.
Let you know
All
something.
right. After consulting with staff of the Senate, the parliamentarian has advised me under Rule 37 United States Senate, conflict of interest, along with the other rules and the laws that govern this Senate, it is in my ability and under my jurisprudence that Mr. Lord of the state of Yellowstone may not cast a vote for or against any objection due to a conflict of interest, which is clearly against Senate rules.
Amen.
And after
Amen.
consulting with staff to get, be quiet. After consulting with staff about this decision, we've came to a conclusive and basis decision that, in conjunction to that, he may not be on the floor while voting on any type of objection. I've also been concerned to inform the Senate that if there is any issue with this decision, I want to remind all senators that they're welcome to go to Twitter like I'm talking, or you'll be, or I'll
I
actually
don't
leave.
care what you're saying.
I'll actually leave then, or be quiet. You're welcome to go to Twitter like you usually do, but other than that, that's the decision. The clerk will not count his vote. So please send me that vote. Thank you. So after saying that and looking at it, the vote is hereby 3 ayes, 2 nays, and 0 abstentions. Whereas the objection in favor of the objection has received majority of the vote. Therefore, this objection has passed the United States Senate. There not being any other business. What?
Eat them up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Seeing there's no other further business for the Senate at this point in time, the Senate is hereby recessed and go back to the joint session. Gabble, gabble, base. Subject to the public.
When we come back to do this, there will be no amens, or you won't have a vote either. Thank you.
I'm gonna just bring everybody again. Save time. Okay. Yeah, y'all can all go back to the main
No,
stage.
Terrell, you bring me. You don't gotta bring everybody, but bring me. Thank you so
Okay.
much. See, y'all are just this is just so beautiful. It's just so good how we all just come together like this. Wow.
Y'all can go.
And then I guess we'll just tally it up afterwards.
Shoot. All right.
All right.
Michigan, that takes away 16 votes.
Drag it down. Let's see.
Let me pull up my documents. Wow.
That's
All right.
Yep.
All right. Do we just have to report to each other that
The clerks of the both chambers report to the joint session as a whole the outcome of the vote.
Oh yes. Go ahead and send me what I need to say, Terrell. I would love to say it in front of everyone. Can y'all get those people from the? Is everybody over here?
Nope, not everyone. I'm still making my way over there.
Okay. And go in the VCs and tell the people. I need to be over here. Do we have all the tellers up here? Santina, are you going to be a
I'm up
teller?
here.
Is Tyrone up here?
No, he's not.
You're gonna have Tyrone as a teller. Be for real.
No.
Oh no.
Can we just have 1 and 1? Let's make it easy. 1 and 1. One person from the Senate, 1 person from the House. Just I don't want to be here till 10 o'clock. I don't. It's a Saturday.
right? All right. Can we
If
keep it
I
pushing?
want to do it, that's fine with me.
I wanna make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So can we keep it pushing?
Okay, I'm ready to report.
Go ahead.
I am
Mitch.
Are we ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Senate, I hereby report that the body has voted in favor of the objection with a vote of 3 ayes and 2 nays.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States House, I hereby report that that body has voted in favor of the objection with a vote of 4 ayes, 3 noes.
Woo! Fantastic. Under receiving that I can declare that the state of Michigan has been declared invalid under the laws that govern this nation. Okay, let's move on. The certificate from Minnesota, the parliamentarian advises me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and as annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Boom, boom. Oh, okay. Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Minnesota seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears, therefore, that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 10 votes for president, and Barbara Whitaker? No, Barbara Montgomery has received 10 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to the county and state of Minnesota? The teller has verified it appears to be regular, foreign, and authentic. Hearing none, the certificate from Mississippi. The teller advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and as and next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Mississippi seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears that, therefore, Mr. Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 6 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Mississippi that the teller has verified to be regular, informed, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Missouri, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and is next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate from the electoral vote of the state of Missouri seems to be regular, and informed and authentic, and it appears, therefore, that Jim Jordan of the state of New England Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 10 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 10 votes for vice president.
Fantastic. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Missouri that the teller has verified appears in regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Montana. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain elect.
Mr. President, the certificate of electoral vote of the state of Montana seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears that, therefore, that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 4 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 4 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Montana that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Nebraska, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be returned from the state, as it next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote for the state of Nebraska seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and appears that, therefore, that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 5 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 5 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Nebraska that the teller has the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Nevada. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Nevada seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears that, therefore, that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 6 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin has received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Nevada that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from New Hampshire. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote that from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Malcolm, go real quick. I have to copy.
Okay, y'all want to keep on talking. Okay, Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral
Okay,
votes for the
that'll
state
be
of New
this.
Hampshire. It seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears, therefore, that New Hampshire was to James M. Lord for the state of Yellowstone, has received 4 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery has received 4 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting certificate of vote from the state of New Hampshire that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from New Jersey. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state, and that next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President. Oh, go ahead.
The certificate of the electoral vote of the state of New Jersey seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 14 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery has received 14 votes for vice president. State of whatever, can't remember.
Are there any objections to the counting their certificate of vote for the state of New Jersey that the teller has verified it appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from New Mexico, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, has an annex to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes for the state of New Mexico seems to be regular and informed and authentic, and it appears that therefore that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 4 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery from the state of New England has received 4 votes for vice president. I'm sorry, 5. My correction, 5.
All right. Are there any objections to counting certificate of vote for the state of New Mexico that the teller has verified to be appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from New York. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed it to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate from the electoral vote of the state of New York seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears that therefore that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 28 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery from the state of New Austin has received 28 votes for vice president.
Sorry. Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of New York that the teller has verified appears regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from North Carolina, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote for that state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of North Carolina seems to be regular in form and authentic, and appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 16 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 16 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of North Carolina that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, this certificate from North Dakota, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of electoral votes for the state of North Dakota seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears that therefore that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 3 votes. 3 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 3 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting certificate of vote for the state of North Carolina that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Ohio, great state, Buckeye State. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of Ohio seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 17 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 17 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Ohio that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Oklahoma. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of the state of vote from the state that purports to return from the state has the next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint or ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote for the state of Oklahoma seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears that therefore that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 7 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 7 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting certificate of vote for the state of Oklahoma that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Oregon, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote that the state purports to be a return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of Oregon seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 8 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of of New Austin has received 8 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of Oregon, that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Pennsylvania, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from that state that reports to return from the state and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate from the electoral vote of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and it appears that therefore that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 19 votes for president, and Barbara has received 19 votes for vice president. Barbara Montgomery, Lord, fix it.
Can someone bring up a
objection?
Boy, look. Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote from the state of Pennsylvania?
Objection. I object.
Okay.
I heard you the first time. God, look, you're gonna make me curse. You gotta let me finish. The teller has verified appears in regular form and authentic. Are there any objections?
Yep.
All right. For what purpose does the gentleman from Yellowstone rise? Or whoever is giving the objection.
It's no.
Drake, go ahead.
I rise to object to the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay, is the objection in writing signed by a representative?
Yes, it is.
Then the objection can be entertained. An objection presented in writing signed by both a representative and a senator complies with the law, Chapter 1 of Title 3 United States Code. The clerk will report the objection.
Objection to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Pennsylvania in accordance with the provisions of Article 1, Section 5 of the United States Constitution and Title 3, Chapter 1, Section 15 of the United States Code. We, a member of the House of Representatives and a United States Senator, object to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Pennsylvania on the ground that they were not under all the known circumstances regularly given. Signed, Drake Norton, a representative on part of the House. Signed, Malcolm Davis, a senator on part of the Senate.
Thanks, Mr. Clerk. Are there any further objections to the certificate of the state of Pennsylvania? The chair hears none. The 2 separate houses will withdraw from the joint session. Each house will deliberate separately on the objection. Gavel, gavel, bang, bang. Yeah.
Deja vu.
Fix it, Jesus, fix it.
Was the bot recording?
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
Was the bot recording that?
It don't matter. You worry about the wrong things. Get out. Representatives go to the House.
That's going to be real quick.
Jet, get up here. Michael's going to be here soon.
Mav, are you
Yep,
over
there he
there?
is with that sexy
You
boy.
said what?
Are you over there?
Michael
Am
needs
I at the Senate chamber? Yeah.
All right.
Don't.
Where's
I
Michael?
need to be unjailed.
Somebody remove Jaden's ad.
I'm not here to vote. I'm here to speak. I'm not here to vote on nothing. I'm
You
here to
can't speak. You can't be on the floor.
I'm here to speak.
You cannot be on the floor.
Gotta run back over there.
Yeah, so I need to be unjailed so I can go to the.
Oh yeah, hey Michael.
All right.
Can someone unjail Michael? He is literally just stuck.
What's the username?
Michael
It's
Smith.
Michael Smith, or just Michael R_Smith. That's the
Yeah. He's stuck in jail. Okay, for some reason he's just stuck in the jail cell.
There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, wait. I'm making my way over there.
This is just love.
What the hell are you doing?
Why are you panicking?
All right,
Michael, that's my seat.
Let's get started.
okay.
There's no Democrats in here, so let's get started.
Sit behind me.
I'll sit over here.
Hey, Michael. Welcome to this.
The Senate will come to order. The Senate will come to order. I want to remind those of the conflict of interest rule that was cited at the last time we convened together. The business before the Senate at this time is a swearing in along with the objection of Pennsylvania. We will move into prior to that, Michael, come up to the desk. I can swear you in real quick.
All right. Let me turn my graphics down. There we go. Still. Okay. All right.
You just say I do at the end. You don't have to repeat after me. I'm trying to get this done. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you're about to enter. So help your God.
I do.
Congratulations, Senator. I hope you do well in this Congress.
Thank you.
Moving on, in our next topic of business, we have the objection of Pennsylvania. We'll now move into a period of debate for senators permitted to speak therein up to 5 minutes each.
Mr. President.
I'm
I'm here to speak. I'm not here to vote. You didn't even never say anything about me not speaking. I'm only here to speak, not to vote.
There you go. I just lost my spot on the script. With senators permitted to speak therein up to 5 minutes each. Debate shall not exceed. Preston, what do we have until? About 5 more minutes, right?
Yes. All right. We need to
Don't
be
we need a
back.
recording bot?
No, we don't need no recording bot.
Debate shall expire at 9:50. Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, New England. Thank you.
New England.
Yeah. What's the debate? He doesn't have 270 anymore, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and motion to move it up here to voting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second. Without objection, so ordered. All those in favor of the objection say aye. All those opposed say no.
Present.
And the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The clerk will not call the roll just because we have to do that for. I'm gonna just start having the roll called instead of doing a voice vote if we have to come back here. Call the roll real quick, please, Preston. So we can.
Davis.
Present.
Floyd. Lennox of New England.
Aye.
Lennox of Appalachia.
Aye.
Smith.
Present.
McCormick. Wallace. The ayes are 3.
Okay. Mr. Davis and Mr. Smith, pursuant to Senate rules, you have to inform the Senate of the reason of your decision to vote abstain or present.
I don't have.
I want to change my vote.
What's your vote?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Smith, what about you?
I don't have enough information right now. I just
Never do.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Preston, what is the vote count?
Gosh. 1, 2, 3 ayes.
Fantastic. The Senate. I declare that the Senate. That vote on the objection is 3 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. The Senate stands to recess subject to the call and chair to reconvene the joint session.
Gentleman yields. Does any member seek recognition in opposition? Hearing none, the House will proceed to the consideration of the objection presented by Mr. Norton and Mr. Davis. Okay. It's to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All those in favor of the objection say aye.
I, for the American people, not the
In the
Mexican
opinion of the
government or
chair,
the
the
Chinese
ayes have
government.
it.
I, Mr.
And the
Speaker.
objection is agreed to.
Wait for roll call.
Clerk will call the roll.
Thank you. Yes. House operations. Senate. Mr. Adler.
I, and I.
Mr. Duncan of New Austin.
Nay.
Mr. Duncan of Appalachia.
Little Mexican.
Miss Harris.
Nay.
Did you say nay or I?
Nay.
Nay, okay.
You said A. She said A. Right?
I heard A.
I believe she
I
could
heard
speak.
A.
I believe she could speak for herself. If she said nay and if she said I and it needs to be corrected from nay, I'm pretty sure she'll let me know. Thank you. Mr. Johnson of Great Lakes.
Aye.
Mr. Keating.
Aye.
Mr. Lewis. Mr. Norton of Appalachia.
Aye.
Mr. Norton of Great Lakes. Miss Pope. Mr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
I'm sure you said no, right?
Yes. I said
No.
yes.
No.
Don't
Said
try
no,
me.
I heard no.
People can't
I said
handle
yes.
People can't handle sarcasm. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Stanton. Mr. Wallace. Mr. Warren. Mr. Warren.
Abstain.
No. All right. 1 second.
This clerk needs to be fired.
I agree.
It's real funny because I have the power to fire you while you're speaking.
Fix it, Jesus.
And take that to your table.
The ayes are 5, nays are 3, abstention is 1.
The objection is agreed to without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. The clerk will inform the Secretary of the Senate on the action of the House and that the House is ready to proceed to the counting of the electoral votes.
All right. Go back down to the stage. They're waiting on us. Here. Took us a bit, but we made it.
Again.
Fix it, Jesus. Fix it.
All right. Sorry. Santino's up here.
Gotta update the Trello real quick.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Senate, I hereby report that the body has voted in favor of the objection with a vote of 3 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Thanks, Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk. Sorry.
Mr. President, on behalf of the House, I hereby report that the body has voted in favor of the objection with a vote of 5 ayes to 3 noes, 1 abstention.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. It is my solemn duty as Vice President to announce that the electoral votes of Pennsylvania has been deemed invalid by both chambers. Therefore, the objection has passed, and that will not be calculated in the official tally of electoral votes to either candidate. All right. The certificate from Rhode Island, the parliamentarian advises me, is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state that has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote for the state of Rhode Island seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears therefore that James M. Lord of Yellowstone has received 4 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery has received 4 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Rhode Island as the teller appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from South Carolina. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote that the state that purports to be a return from the state has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes of the state of South Carolina seems to be regular, in form, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 9 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 9 votes for vice president.
Okay. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of South Carolina? That the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral votes for the state of South Dakota seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears that therefore that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 3 votes for president. Huh?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm reading something. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. Jim Roberts has received 2 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 3 votes for vice president.
Fantastic. Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of South Dakota that the teller has verified appears in regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Tennessee. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote for the state that purports to be returned from the state, has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Tennessee seems to be regular, in form, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 11 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 11 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Tennessee? That the teller has verified appears in regular, form, and authentic. Hearing none, the certificate from Texas. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate from the electoral vote of the great state of Texas seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears that therefore that Jim Roberts of the state of New England has received 40 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield from the state of Appalachia has received 40 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of Texas? That the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic. Hearing none, the certificate from Utah. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be returned from the state, and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Utah seems to be regular, in form, and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 6 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 6 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Utah? That the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic. Hearing none, the certificate of Vermont. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate from the electoral vote of the state of Vermont seems to be regular, informed, and authentic, and appears that therefore that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 3 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New England has received, New Austin has received 3 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote for the state of Vermont? That the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic. Hearing none, the certificate from Virginia. The parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state, and has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the Commonwealth of Virginia seems to be regular, in form, and authentic, and it appears that therefrom, there we go, that James Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 13 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin has received 13 votes for vice president.
Are there no objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of of Virginia? Excuse me, that the teller has verified appears regular, form, and authentic. Wait. Hearing none, the certificate from Washington. Parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of a vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has a next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Washington seems to be regular, informed, and authentic. It appears that James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 11 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery of the state of New Austin has received 11 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counter the certificate of vote for the state of Washington that the teller has verified appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from West Virginia, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state that has annexed to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of West Virginia seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 5 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 5 votes for vice president.
Thank you. Are there any objections to counter certificate of vote for the state of West Virginia that the teller had verified to be appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Wisconsin, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has a next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Wisconsin seems irregular, informed, and authentic, and it appears that therefrom James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 10 votes for president, and Barbara Montgomery has received 10 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote from the state of Wisconsin that the teller has verified it appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the certificate from Wyoming, the parliamentarian advises me is the only certificate of vote from the state that purports to be a return from the state and has a next to it from the authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
Mr. President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Wyoming seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Jim Roberts of the state of New England received 3 votes for president, and Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia received 3 votes for vice president.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of vote of the state of Wyoming that the teller has verified it appears to be regular, form, and authentic? Hearing none, the chair advises me. The chair advises member. Sorry, I'm in the groove. The chair advises members of Congress that the certificates have been read. Their tellers will ascertain and deliver the results to the president of the Senate. Okay. Who's the main teller? Oh, Kristen. Miss Harris. I'm gonna say, do you have this part? I'm gonna say it to you.
The second to last thing or the third to last thing?
The part where you name just the tellers. Yeah, just say it, please. So I can.
Okay. I'm disconnected from the game. Oh well. Okay. The undersigned. Okay. The undersigned Kristen Harris. Oh wait, what? Hold on. Clark. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the undersigned Kristen Harris. Yeah.
Okay, I was right. Okay. The undersigned Kristen Harris, the tellers on the part of the House of Representatives report following as a result of the ascertaining and counting the electoral votes for president and vice president of the United States for term beginning on 20th day of January
of
2020.
January. Yeah, Harris. All right. The state of the vote for president of the United States as delivered to the president Senate is as follows. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for vice president of the United States is What's the total number? Is it still
243 for James Lord and
No, no, no,
259
no,
for
no,
Jim
no, 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 no,
Roberts.
no, no, no. I'm talking about the,
502.
I thought it was 270.
no, I'm
502.
talking about the whole number of electoral college.
502.
Thank you.
502 because 2 states were removed.
Oh
Oh yeah, 2 states. Yeah.
Thank you. Appointed to the vote for the President of the United States is 502, of which the majority is 270. Whew. Jim Roberts of the state of Yellowstone, or New England. Is it New England or Yellowstone?
New England.
New England has received for President of the United States 259 electoral votes, whereas James Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 243 electoral votes. The state of the vote for President of the United States, or for Vice President of the United States, is delivered to the Senate as follows. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 502 electoral votes, of which the majority is 270. Whereas Frank Butterfield of the state of Appalachia has received 259 electoral votes, whereas Barbara Montgomery has received 240 electoral votes. The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on January 20th, 2017, and shall be entered together a list of votes on the Journal of the Senate and House of Representatives. Whereas neither side, wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Whereas neither side, neither nominee of the presidential election has received a majority of votes of 270 per the Constitution of the United States, the House of Representatives shall determine the next president of the United States, and the vice presidency shall be determined by the United States Senate. Whereas the purpose of the joint session having concluded, the chair declares the joint session dissolved. Gavel, gavel, bang, bang.
All right. Representatives, y'all can go back to the House chamber. Senators, y'all can go back to the Senate chamber. I don't know if y'all are going to elect your POTUS and VP tonight.
Yes. We get up.
Y'all can do that at the same time, different times. It's up to y'all.
We.
Okay. Who said it was past my bedtime?
It's past all of our bedtimes.
It's only 10.
That was me, Mr. Speaker. I said it was past your bedtime.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's wait for some people to get here.
Can we give a prayer, please? I'm really praying.
I am here. Bring all of y'all up. To take Jaden's admin because he kept removing people off the stage. He'll get it back once we're done.
No, that's right. Yawns.
Before we start, I want to remind all of you in the House that each region gets one vote. So, your regional delegation must agree on who they are voting for president. It is not each of you individually.
We fall down. Oh, no.
Bring up, yep. And Layden. Bring up Tyrone and Layden. Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
We're all here, yep. Yep.
Okay, I've returned.
Okay. Let me pull up my little thing. Okay. The House will be in order. Motions to adjourn are not in order unless made with prior notice to the Speaker of the House. The House will proceed to a deliberation on the candidates, them being James Lord from Yellowstone and Jim Roberts from New England. 5 minutes to those in support and 5 minutes to those. 5 minutes to those in support of Jim Roberts and 5 minutes to those in support of James Lord. Does any member seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker.
The majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Jim Roberts won this election, and quite frankly, we shouldn't even have to be doing this right now. But the radical left made it their goal to unify behind rigging a election and putting their puppet James Lord as president. So let's start doing what our constituents want and putting the real president of the United States, Jim Roberts, in office. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Majority leader yields.
Sure.
Does any other member seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from New Austin is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising again, Mr. Speaker. And I'm rising again in support of Jim Roberts. Mr. Speaker, Jim Roberts has given us nothing but assurance for this great nation. Jim Roberts is someone who will secure this nation and send every illegal person back to where they came from so we don't have to deal with it anymore, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to say to everyone who voted in favor of James Lord, you really have to figure out something in your life because you have some serious problems. Because you believe that counting Chinese communists and Mexican roofers' votes is okay. There's something really wrong with you in the head, and you need to figure it out. You need to tie those bolts up and do what you need to do because there's something wrong with you. And if you abstained in any of these votes, you're just as bad as those who supported. For those who supported James Lord. Because you aren't doing anything. You are lazy. That is laziness. Pure laziness, Mr. Speaker. Laziness. That's what that is. They don't want to do anything. And those type of people need to get out. They need to pack their bags, get on a flight, and head to China, head to Mexico, and join those that are sitting in their basements, that are sitting in their broken homes, Mr. Speaker. It's absurd. And I'm just so glad that the House is doing this. I'm so glad that we're doing this for the people because Jim Roberts will defend our nation way more than James Lord ever will. James Lord does not even know how to speak a sentence without feeling oozy. He doesn't know how to walk across an aisle without swaying his hips, Mr. Speaker. This is horrible. There's something we need to do, and we have done it. We've accomplished it. So that is why we need to get Jim Roberts to be the next president of the United States because, man, it's been a long fight. They have tried so hard. The left have tried so hard to push us down, but no, they can't do that anymore because Jim Roberts is going to be elected as president. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Gentleman yields. Does any other member seek recognition? The gentleman from Great Lakes is recognized.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I have a parliamentary inquiry right quick.
Go ahead.
To my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, the individuals who are incarcerated right now, unless granted permission by a judge or the overseeing body that they're incarcerated with, can they be on the floor right now, Mr. Speaker?
I'm here, ain't it?
Well, The Constitution.
I said he could be here because the judge said he can attend virtually, but you're required to be in game to attend. We don't have no TV screen.
Yeah, okay. The Constitution says that members are privileged from arrest, and that includes going to and from jail and the House of Representatives. So, yes, he is allowed on the floor. Continue, Tyrone.
All right. Now, I knew tonight was going to go in the Republicans' favor. Amen, that it did. Now, President-elect James Lord, I told you, you was not going to go to that Oval Office, but, you had sat back and laughed and was like, okay, Tyrone, like you ain't believe what I was telling you. But next time I tell your stupid ass something, you better believe it.
Speaker, point of order.
State your point of order.
Did he just cuss on the House floor?
Nope.
I think
Continue,
I heard
Tyrone.
that.
Go ahead.
No.
Continue.
Anyway. Thank you. Now.
This is the people's floor, and you are disrespecting it.
I don't care who I'm disrespecting.
There will be order. Continue. There will be order. Continue.
That he be removed from the floor for his remarks.
Nope. Continue.
Anyway, reclaiming my time. So, next time, Mr. James Lord, or President, well, no longer President-elect, because, Jim Roberts, we're glad to be seeing you, will be getting sworn in as president tomorrow after this vote. And even if for some odd reason this vote doesn't go our way, impeachment articles will be drafted and voted on tomorrow as you're walking to the White House. So you might as well not even get your little skinny leg having keep it together. You might as well not even do that inaugural walk to the White House tomorrow, because you will not be president for long if this does not go the Republicans' way. To all the patriots that had put their signatures down for an objection that was for the objective states that were objected to tonight, I want to say thank you and God bless you for standing up for what's right in this country. I cannot wait for Frank Butterfield and Jim Roberts to be sworn in tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman yields. The gentlewoman from New England.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise in today and not in support nor opposition of what's going on, but to speak neutrally on behalf of my constituents who sent me here. First and foremost, I just want to state that whatever happens, happens. We're here to do a job. Whether it's right or wrong, whatever political view you may have, we're here to do a job, and that is to support and defend the United States Constitution, which we are sworn to do so. But I just want to make a couple of key points right quick. It seems to me that, without a doubt, without any objection as such, that individuals here within this exact same chamber are only here for merest purpose of political gain. And I find it kind of absurd, and I find it kind of degrading as an individual who has worked not only with other political figures, but other individuals within this group who actually have tried to get stuff accomplished and are not just here for the sole title of such. I also want to bring up the fact that we have individuals here who are only here for the sole purpose to elect the individual to president, to get them acquitted, to get them pardoned because of the current charges allocated against them right now in the district court. So before we start making political decisions, let's base it off the facts and let's base it off of reality here. Like I said, I'm not nor for or against the current situation that is going on, but what I will say is that despite any stance, we are here to do the people's work. This is not about because your party leader is a Republican or your party leader is a Democrat. It's not about that. It's about who's going to efficiently and effectively get the job done without any objection as such, without any mental reservation as such, as stated in the United States Constitution. It seems that to me, within individuals within my own political caucus, that we are merely here to make political statements and issues around the board, and that's not what we were elected to do, not in any sense of the word. So, to my own individuals within my own caucus, including members of leadership here, let's make this about the right thing to do today.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman's time has expired. The majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to point out some facts right now. James Lord lost with 30% of the vote. Jim Roberts won with 62%. David Worthleston lost with 6%. And the Honorable Jesus Christ lost with 1%. So if we want to talk truth in this chamber, the truth is James Lord lost. There is no possible way you can win the electoral vote with winning 30% of the popular vote. This is the facts, okay? That's why I was elected to Congress, to speak facts and not giggle and twirl my hair on the House floor like my previous congressman did. All right? So that's the real facts. All right? So I ask all my fellow colleagues that we put the right president of the United States in office today. Thank you. God bless you. I yield back.
Gentlemen yields. All time for debate has expired. In accordance with the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, each member will report their vote to the clerk of the House by secret ballot, so do it in DMs. And use the following format: name, region, and the candidate you're voting for. The clerk will then tabulate the votes of each member of each region and shall report to the Speaker on the results of each region, either James Lord of Yellowstone or Jim Roberts of New England, depending on which the majority of representatives voted for by region. The clerk will call the roll. Well,
Just DM it to me, and then I'll do a little bit of count.
Exactly.
You know, if y'all want to be a little secret and vote against party lines, they won't know.
I will. But go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, point of clarification.
Go ahead.
You already DM'd me. What needs to be clarified?
Mr. Speaker, how do we know that the clerk won't rig the vote?
Because he's the clerk, you should trust him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate you.
Just sat up here talking about how people need us to go back to China and Mexico. Lord Jesus. I really hope all of y'all know who the clerk is, considering y'all DM me so much. It's 9 of y'all. I only got 4. 5. 6. There you go.
7. 8.
Nope.
9.
Haven't made it that far.
10.
Notepad.
5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes.
Oh, shit. Reach out to some of these people who are not here. So I want to cast a random anonymous vote. All right. What? Anyways.
It shouldn't take this long.
I'm counting it as we speak.
Takes a long time to count 9 people.
For real.
I'm organizing.
Go ahead. Take
because
your time.
Organization
Take your
matters.
time.
Mr. Speaker, I'm gonna drag you somewhere really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The transparency, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
Okay, if you want me to say it out loud, Mr. Speaker, if a delegation is tied in regards to their vote, how should that be handled?
It doesn't get counted.
Okay, thank you.
I can't believe it, Jesus. I can't believe it.
Be quiet.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, the Appalachian delegation has casted their one vote to Jim Roberts of the
Just tell me
state
again.
of New.
Go ahead.
Oh shit! My bad. You want me to do it that way? Okay.
That's it.
I'm sending you the rest. Impatient ass. And that's it.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Faxes to Capital Printer to put into record.
Do that.
I'm a
Alrighty. Okay, let's get started. It is hereby decided that through a contingent election by the House of Representatives in Congress assembled, the Honorable James M. Lord of the state of Yellowstone has received 0 votes for president, and the Honorable Jim Roberts from the state of New England has received 3 votes for president. Thereby, Jim Roberts of New England is hereby elected President of the United States of America and shall be sworn in, subject to the Constitution of the United States, on January the 20th, 2017. The clerk will report to the Secretary of the Senate, the President of the United States, and the Chief Justice of the United States on the action of the House.
Reports.
Yes, sir. Jim, come by my house. I got some tequila waiting for you.
All right, guys. Once this, okay, so the people have today.
They're still in session.
Be quiet.
All right. Well.
So that concludes the contingent election. Does any member have any motions or seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from New Austin.
Thank you. I want to keep this short.
You're welcome.
We really showed the American people who we really are. We showed the Democrats who we really are and what we really can do. So I just want to say this to every one of you who tried to test us. You tried and you failed. You failed horribly because look who is going to be sworn in tomorrow. Not you, James Lord. Not you, stinky Democrats. It'll be Jim Roberts. Jim Roberts, I just can't wait to see what he's going to do for our nation. I just can't wait until we send the illegal Mexicans where they belong.
Mr. Speaker.
Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, the Republican Party showed which party truly, really cares about democracy.
There's more than one.
We got a Dollar Tree AR in here.
Oh my lord.
Continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, we were invaded by the American Federation, that ghetto server. But Jim Roberts truly won this election, and Republicans showed today who cares about democracy. And the majority of the American people wanted Jim Roberts as our president, not Stinky James Lord.
Sure.
These invaders are James Lord's children, and they just love him too much. But Mr. Speaker, I am very excited for the future of not only this Congress but the state of this nation with Jim Roberts as president of the United States and a great governor, Frank Butterfield, as vice president. So, with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Majority Leader yields.
Mr. Speaker.
Seeing no other member seeks recognition, the House will stand adjourned.
Mr. Speaker.
Adjourn.
Mr. Speaker.
The House is adjourned.
This is a bull.